This is Access 2019 Module 3 Part 2. In this segment we are going to begin working with queries using query design. This first one is a pretty simple query. We will be using only one table and simply limiting the information that we bring in. So let's go ahead and get back into our Lakewood database. Now, we're always going to start on the Create tab when we create queries, as in any other object. There are two options to choose from when we choose to create a query. Either a wizard. There are 4 specific wizards that you can use. You should memorize those names so that you will know if they specifically are asking you for a wizard. If they are not asking you for a wizard, you're going to choose Query Design. So the majority of the queries we will be working with in class will actually use Query Design as the starting point. And the first thing we have to do is identify the table or tables that we will use in that query. So for this query, we are going to use the patient table. So we'll either double click on patient or click and add. Once we have the table, we can close the show table window. I like to get this box big enough so that all of my fields are visible. When you're working with queries, you need to make sure that you are adding the fields in the order they are given you in the assignment. If the order of the fields is wrong, then the query results will be marked wrong as well. There's 2 ways you can add a field. If you double click on a field, it will put it in the first available column. If you want to add a field in a specific spot, you can click on the field. So I double clicked on patient ID and it added it in the first column. If I decided I wanted first name in the 3rd column, I can drag it specifically there and drop it where I want it. Same way with last name, I can drag that to the 2nd box. Now obviously I could notice it shifts it over. So if you want to delete one that you don't want there anymore, you can click on a column and choose to delete the column. So you're either going to double click on a field or drag it where you want it, whichever you find easier. We'll add the city and the email. So we added patient ID, last name, first name, city, and email. Now once we're done, notice our query type is select. Initially, that's all we'll be working with. That means it's going to select the records. It's not going to make any changes to the table. It's just going to select the information we want to see. So now we're going to click Run, and it will display our query results in Datasheet view. Because we did not use a wizard, we do have to save the query. So when we save it, it'll ask us to give it a name. We will call this patient email. When you are naming your objects in your homework, make sure you are very careful, because if you have a typing error in a query name, then anything about that query is also going to be marked wrong. So you do want to be very careful when you're naming these things to match the name exactly. If we make changes to the data in a query, it does update the data in the actual database as well. So let's look for patient 13256. And you can see that his name is Drew Wagner. Drew has informed us that he is now going by Andrew. So we're going to change that name, Andrew. And he has changed his email, so I'm going to tab over to that, and I'm going to change the D to an A. Again, those changes are not saved until the pencil goes away. Once the pencil goes away, it did save those changes in my query. It also saved them in the patient table. So I'm going to go ahead and close this query. And I'm going to open up the patient table, and I'm going to find Andrew Wagner, and you can see it updated in the table his first name and his email address.